everyone, Nev here, and today I am kind of starting a tag. I don't know if very many people are going to latch onto this because it is kind of a time sensitive thing, though we can adjust it. And that is hashtag tarot trimester. And so the reason I'm starting this is because I was thinking about my practice and what I've done so far in the year. And we can do these like quarterly reviews of like the previous 3 months. But since it's May now, that's 4 months in. So it's not so much a quarterly, but, a tri-annually. And because of that, I wanted to kind of come up with something to call this the like 4 months into a year. So I decided on trimester, and to keep it alliterative, I used a tarot trimester, though it could be really anything. Any sort of your spiritual practice or your occult practice, your tarot practice, whatever. so I'm going to be doing one here for May, then another one in August, and the final one in December. Though to make this a little less time sensitive, you could do it at any point in the year, and it basically covers the previous 4 months of your practice. All right, so I have some notes here that I was taking, just trying to figure out. I just want to reassess my practice. So for this year, my focus this year, I've been focusing a lot on deities, a kind of an information gathering, and sort of, because each month I've dedicated to a deity, and in those months, I'm reading a book, if there is a book about that deity, and then and doing all of my moon readings, which is on here too, moon readings. All of my moon readings are with that deity. So there's kind of some surface level research, reading about that deity, and some surface level sort of connection. So that's what I've been doing. And I have my spiritual journals, of course, my daily journal. In fact, let me just pull those out and kind of go through those to talk about that. Okay, so this is my main spiritual journal, which I've showed several times on my channel before. I am going to eventually decorate this part, so it's not just this blank section here. Something pretty and like a little cover page or something. And then I'll probably glue this page down to it so that it opens straight to this. This is a Hobonichi A6, by the way. So each month I dedicated to a deity: Ganesha, Brij, Angus, Rhiannon, Ondagda, Anya, Caradwyn, Lu, Lakshmi, Aryanrod, Onmorrigan, and Kalyak. And then here I have the lunar calendar for the year that I got from an Etsy shop. And then the retrogrades and conjunctions for the year. Just some runes and Ogham information. These came from the Witch's Moon boxes, or the Witch's Roots. And some quick reference for the tarot. These are also from Witch's Moon and Witch's Roots. Same thing here. And then it goes into the months. So Ganesha, Brij, Angus, Rhiannon, Ondagda. And I think I'll just stick with these since these are the first 4 months. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the current month I'm in. So, all right. And then the moon readings. These are the base moon readings that I've been doing each month. It's the same spread for each month, for each moon, but the focus is different. So for every new moon is about goals, productivity, and habits. Every first quarter moon is about connections, relationships, and love. Every full moon is about spirituality, metaphysics, philosophy, and every third quarter moon is about selfhood, introspection, identity. Kind of a little bit of shadow work here, I guess, if that's a term we want to use. And in general, I have been liking this. I like that there's a structure that I can follow each month, but it doesn't leave a lot a lot of room for changing things up a little bit, which I'm not super thrilled about, but at the same time, I do like that there's a structure. Yeah. And then I've also been doing my Venus transits. So, one thing that I will say that's not so much, that's really not going to work is I still have to put some stuff in here, but I did some forward planning here, and the book that I'm using, this is actually the Day Free Hobonichi. It's not the actual daily techo, so it's got less pages, and I thought I mapped out the correct number, but because I started adding in ancestor work and the Venus transits, things like that, I started to do some forward planning and mapping that out, and I realized I was going to run out of pages. So I'm going to have to grab one of the little inserts, the A6 inserts, and do the rest in that for the year, because I think it runs out in October, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it runs out in October. So that's a bit of a bummer. And once I realized that, I was a bit bummed out. But it is what it is. I thought I had planned that ahead of time, but yeah. So assessing my practice here, I think what I might end up doing is I think I might, for next year, I'm gonna have to get like instead of a day free, I may have to get a full techo for my spiritual planner, or what I could do is separate. Get a few of the day frees and separate them out and have like the moon readings in one, the whatever special readings that I do in another, which I don't know that I'll have a special reading, but maybe I'll have other readings sort of in a separate thing. This was actually, I haven't filled out the ritual here, but this was my Beeltana ritual. And the ancestor readings in one, and then having I don't know what I want to do for next year, but using a day free was just not enough paper. So there's one assessment, one thing that I've figured out for that I need to change. So another thing that I was thinking about. So the deity stuff, one of my cons here, one of the things that I've kind of listed as is that they're a little too surface, because I feel like I'm doing a study a month basically, and the studies this year are about deities, and I do feel like I'm not fully getting, I don't know, that full connection that I was hoping for month by month. I don't know if that makes sense, but especially so the month of Angus for March. I actually, because there wasn't a book about Angus. In fact, I feel like I'm learning more about him in my Dagda month here, because I'm reading a book specifically about Ondagda, which happens to be the father of Angus. So there's some stories in here about Angus. So I actually feel like I'm getting some of that here. But yeah, so I feel like I didn't really connect with Angus in March. And it was a similar thing for Rhiannon, though there was a book that I read about Rhiannon. But in general, I feel like I didn't quite get that connection that I was hoping for. Though, funnily enough, I watched one of Marine's from Waves of Your Soul. I watched one of her pick a card readings, the day after April. It was like May 1st, May 2nd, something like that I watched this video. And it was just a pick a card, and I picked my pile, and the deity that it gave me was Rhiannon. So, so while I felt like I didn't quite connect in this April month, maybe Rhiannon, the goddess, was, reaching out. So that's nice, or maybe she was appreciative. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's something that hasn't, that I felt like wasn't as in depth. My deity studies, and I mean, I think that's also partially to be expected when you're limiting a study to 1 month. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, moving on to my daily practice here. Yeah, so again, it's the 4 months or 1 month per deity here. And I'm doing my daily card pulls, my morning card pulls in here, and listing what I get. And for Angus, I actually did Ogham, because the book I actually read for March was on Ogham, and I didn't finish that one. I'm going to have to finish it in a later month. But I will say that the issue that I'm having is I'm not very good at my morning pulls, and remembering to do that. And I think morning practice for me is not something that is suited for my lifestyle. I don't think I'm ever going to be the kind of person that wakes up and immediately does a morning meditation and things like that. I mean, I am a morning person, but I feel like spirituality wise, it just doesn't quite happen in the morning for me. So we're actually on today, as I film this, is the 14th. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my daily card here. I haven't finished decorating this page, but that's okay. And I haven't been putting the interpretations in here. I've just kind of been listing the card name. And what I'm using for my daily pull for this month is the Druid Animal Oracle. So I'm just going to go like that. And we got Crane. All right, nice. I will grab the pen here and write Crane for the 14th. I got the camera right in front of my face, so Crane. All right, and at a later date, I'll go through and actually write the little interpretations for these ones. But anyway, so thanks for joining me for that. But I've been using this as mostly my nighttime card pulls. So the morning ones, or sometime during the day, is the monthly part, and then the nighttime is my readings here. So yeah, and I've really been enjoying this. The nighttime ones work better for me, I think. But yeah, so we're in, let's see. Yeah, I haven't, I don't do every single day. I don't pressure myself to do days if I don't want to. But it is cool when I finish a full week, So this was last week. I didn't do the last 3 days of that. And this is this week. I did do last night's. I just didn't write it in here yet. So I will do that eventually. And then tonight will be this one. So yeah. So that is my my daily journal. And for the most part, this has been working. I think I'm going to continue this for next year. Yeah. All right. So one of my previous videos was the hashtag aspirational tarot, which was a video response to, I think it was Rowan here in their video. And I kind of considered that a preface to this video because it kind of had a similar vein. And this was my notes for that video. And so going over this, like how I would like to use tarot, talking about what tarot means to me and how I incorporate it into my life. It is primarily a psychological tool used for self-growth, but for me, it is very much a spiritual tool and part of my spiritual practice. And I would like to really use tarot and more in my spiritual, like in my everyday and in my spiritual practice in general. It's probably the cornerstone of my spiritual practice, and it's how I communicate with my spirit entities, my deities, etc. but I would also like to use it as a divinatory practice and use it to help grow my intuition, my psychic abilities, using it in witchcraft. Yeah, and I would like to use it for different times in my life. Like, this was one that I talked about in Aspirational Tarot, which was coming up with a tarot practice during my menstrual cycle, which I really like the idea of, and connecting astrology to it. So yeah, I mean, I pulled out a bunch of decks to kind of look through while doing this video, but I haven't pulled out any of them because I've kind of just been looking at my journals. So like, I have this, the Star Codes Astro Oracle here, and I would absolutely love to do some sort of deep dive and full intensive study of astrology, and using these cards or something like this to really aid my studies here. So I would really love an astrological practice. I'm just going to put those to the side. And there's other studies that I want to do too, because I have another note thing talking about things that I would love to focus on. So like, I have this note thing here talking about ideas for my 2025 spiritual practice. Because my spiritual practice here in 2024, it's pretty set. Like I am finding, issues with it, of course, but I'm going to stick with what I have. So I'm going to stick with the deity a month, and I am going to stick with these readings, my 4 moon readings a month, and this layout for each month. I'm committed to that. Like, there's some issues with it, like, I didn't quite feel connected to Angus or Rhiannon in the months that I focused on them. I felt very connected to my Ganesha month. That one worked out perfectly. But yeah, so some of it does feel very surface, but I think part of that's to be expected with focusing on a different thing each month. Whereas with the moon readings, I still want to do a reading for each moon, full, new, and the two other quarter moons. But it does feel very limited doing it like this. So I don't know how I might change that in the future. Next year, I won't be doing the Venus in transit. It's been okay doing that this year. I'm going to stick with it for sure. It's just, yeah, I think after I'm done with this, I think my focus will shift a bit. And instead of doing a transit, I'll do something else next year, but I'm not quite sure what yet. So most of that's staying the same, and all of that will stay the same for 2024. But kind of assessing my 2025 goals and how I might want to change this. So like the different sections. So for April, my morning pulls were actually from, and I have the box here for it. I don't have a bag for this. I just keep it in this wooden box. But this is the Fairies Oracle, the Brian Froud Fairies Oracle. I'll just get this box out of the way. Yeah, and so I felt like the morning pulls kind of don't mean much to me. And that's one of the issues I'm having with these morning pulls. I'm just pulling a card and then not doing anything with that information. Just writing down the card that I get and not doing anything else. And I have had this deck for probably more than 10 years. And I really, really love it, but it is absolutely the kind of deck that really, really needs a deep dive. So I have a few major deep dives that I want to do for 2025. So what I had written down here for the Fairies Oracle, I want to do a sort of weekly study of the Fairies Oracle, maybe one card per week. That said, once I got in this deck, which I'm going to pull out right here. This is the Kamito Yokai Oracle deck that I actually just got, and there's going to be a walkthrough of this on my channel. I think it's the video after this, but I'm not sure. So this, and sure, we'll look at both of these together while, while I talk. There are 52 cards in here. So there's like one card a week for the year, which is kind of perfect, and combines another aspect that I want to really focus on for 2025, and that is my Japanese decks. And combining it with my Japanese studies. Now this is my Nihongo no Nikki, and that means my Japanese language diary. For 2023, I did it as an actual diary. And each page had a decoration. The monthly pages were a kanji a day, and the weekly pages, it kind of gave a diary entry for the day in Japanese, and which was a lot of fun. This year, however, I went to live a little bit different, and instead of it being a diary, it's I'm watching a Japanese reality show called Terrace House, Boys and Girls in the City, and I'm watching the same episode every day, or almost every day, for a week, and recording random quotes from that episode, and decorating the pages, and then posting those quotes, or I mean, not posting, but writing those quotes here in my journal. Yeah, and I enjoy doing this. It does get a bit cumbersome, and I have skipped a couple weeks. Let me see if I can find one of the weeks that I skipped, because and of course, because this isn't a diary like my one last year, the dates aren't that important. But I've been keeping the dates in mind. So I did skip this week, and I went ahead and decided to just not decorate that week. And I did this week, but then I skipped another week. So I hope that doesn't become a habit. But anyway, my point in bringing this out, even though this channel isn't about my Japanese stuff, though there is a combination happening. I think what I want to do for my Nihongo no Nikki next year is I want to focus on a card a week from the Kami to Yokai Oracle here, and do some research on that card, and kind of do my own little deep dive of this deck. Yeah, so now I have a sort of competition between these two, because that means I'm doing a card a week from here, but I had already initially wanted to do a card a week from here as well. So I don't know what that means for me. Oops, sorry, I bumped the camera. Now I could sort of combine that, and maybe pull a card from here and pull a card from here, and it would be different every single week, which means I could use it shuffled instead of doing it in order. Who knows? And I could, one of my study things could be, seeing how the random card from here and the random card from here connect. That could be something. I'm sort of coming up with this as I'm discussing this. So that's a possibility. But right now there is a conflict in my idea, because I wanted to do a card of this, a card from here every single week, and I want to do a card from here every single week. So yeah, and that might be too much. So yeah, anyway, like I am noticing some connections though, because I feel like I'm seeing this and this here, and then in the previous cards I felt like, this energy seemed pretty similar. There's a lot of similar energy between these, so maybe a combination thing could work. I don't know. Anyway, so that's that assessment. So other things that I really want to incorporate as part of my practice. So I still want to do the full moon readings and a deity practice of some sort. And for here and the ancestral practice, I still have as TBD. Yes, because I'm not quite sure how to rein this in. I'm doing, this year, I'm doing a month by month sort of surface level study of 12 deities. And I want to continue that in 2025, but somehow change it. So there's a question mark here. And that's part of the reason I'm also doing these tarot trimesters. These are things for me to think about over the next 4 months. And when I come back in August to do my second tarot trimester, maybe I can focus a bit on understanding what I might do for my deity practice and my ancestral practice. So down on the monthly focus here, this is my ideas for 2025. So this year, my monthly focus were deities. Next year, maybe I can focus on other main studies that I want to do. So like some of my things that I have listed here: astrology, OM. So I mean, OM is a big part, or is something that I want to be a big part of my practice. I have some cards here that we can kind of look through. This is just like the Celtic Tree Oracle or whatever that is, which is kind of based on the faulty Celtic Tree calendar, which isn't a thing, by the way. That is something that has that's not part of Irish lore. But the cards themselves are nice, and so I do like the cards. Yeah, so ooh, hello. I have my staves here, and I have these cards, and I would like to potentially do, like, I definitely want OM to be a big part of my practice, and probably connected to the my deity practice, especially my Irish deity practice. So I definitely want to have OM as a big part of my practice. But yeah, so I mean, I have those there. And one month I could do my Marseille study. Marseille, I have like 3 different, well, I have 2 official Marseille decks. One is this one, the Ionasa Yaus. I also have the Squid Cake Tarot. I have that one as well, which is a Marseille. And I also have the Tattoo Tarot, which isn't technically a Marseille, but it is a pip deck, and Justice and Strength are reversed in that deck, so I could also use that as Marseille. So, but I know nothing. I know almost nothing about Marseille. Yeah, I really want to do at least a month-long study of Marseille somehow. Yeah, so obviously I might do it for May, Marseille May. I think someone here on TarotTube is focusing on Marseille May this year. And so that is something that I would like to do next year. So yeah, that's the plan. I think I am going to do Marseille May in 2025. I would also like to do a Lenormand study, which I didn't pull out any Lenormand decks here, but yeah, a Lenormand study. And also some other forms of divination. Like I have tea leaf reading, which I have tea leaf reading cups for. Charm casting. Oh, let me see what I have here. I have these like witches runes that came in one of my witches moon boxes. And this was actually something that came... this is like some sort of abalone shell or something like that. That's lined and everything. So I would like to use something that's a bit more fortune tellery or divinatory here. So a charm casting study of some sort. Yeah, or scrying or a pendulum. I do have that pendulum that came in the green glyphs box. And speaking of the green glyphs, the other thing I want to do is focus on deck families. So, like right here, I just pulled out the one here, but I have all of the green glyphs collections, the big box set, and I would really, really like to really connect with my decks, not just in the deck families that I pull out, but also just really, really understanding some of the systems. And Yeah, so because I had so many ideas when I first got this box set in, and I just haven't really done much with that. I will say that the Green Glyphs is a set that is really difficult to pair. Like, I think it might actually look kind of cool here. Let me see. I think one of the things that's difficult about the Green Glyphs is the coloring of it. It doesn't quite, because it's so like almost orangey beige, it doesn't quite go with a lot of decks. I'm going to take a stack off because these are white at the bottom, so it doesn't quite go with this. But yeah, this was just an example. I love this card from the Yonasios. This is probably my favorite card. But anyway, so like, you know, getting more into the deck family sort of things and pulling out families of decks and pairing and things like that. I want to have more of that. So, gosh, what else do I have to talk about? Oh, I pulled out this as a potential study for my Rujin Kado, my Dragon God Oracle deck here. I love this deck with the Mars Power Tarot, and I did a pairing of that in some of my previous videos. So love this deck, and it would connect with my wanting to learn Japanese and combining Japanese with my tarot. And before I had gotten the yokai deck, the Kamito yokai deck, I had sort of figured that I might do something specific with this one. And again, this was like a 1 card per week thing. But I think I'm going to stick with this one. But maybe what I might do is start this, because there's less cards in here. There's only 38. And I do really want to understand this deck and know it front, back, and center, you know, and be able to read, because I can read some of these, but I can't read all of them, and I really want to be able to read this. So this I may start this year and just have it as my own little separate study thing. So yeah, so one of the things that I am doing this year for my videos, or have done this year, is my tarot myth making, which is another tag I did, but I didn't really pick up, maybe because it's so specific. But so what did I have here? The myth making here. So yeah, so I started the hashtag tarot myth making, and it was just kind of a fun idea of something I'd like to do. I'm just going to look through some of these cards while I talk about that. We'll do it like this. Yeah, so it was fun, and I am going to do one more video of that. But I think after this next video, I'm going to be done with that, and I'm going to move on to another monthly sort of practice. So one thing I could do is start my study of the Rujin Kado and use that to replace the myth making. And I could pull 1 card a week from this, and then do a monthly video going over the 4 or 5 cards that I pulled, and kind of doing my own little study of that. So maybe that's something I can actively change for this year. And we have less than 38 weeks left in the year, I'm pretty sure. But I can get some sort of notebook to use as my notes for my Rujin Kado. And yeah, and because I connect this deck so much with my Mars Power Tarot, that could be one thing that I can do, that I can actively do this year as a study. because a lot of what I've been talking about in this video is what I want to do next year. What I want to, because like my spiritual practice, I'm not really changing for this year. But here's all the things I want to change for next year. You know what I mean? So I think maybe as I'm recording this, this might be what I decide to focus on. I might decide to straight up focus on my Rujin Kado as at least for the next 4 months. We'll see how it goes. And that will take the place of my tarot myth making. Yeah, so I've decided that. All right. So another last few things that I want to sort of talk about, and in regards to the last 4 months of my practice / 4 months of my channel, etc. And I have stuff everywhere now. I had like all these boxes and notebooks and stuff I have everywhere now. Anyways, so I've also been doing some spell work videos here and there. It's kind of when they come up. So I would like to do more of those, maybe doing kind of a spell a month that I share on the channel. So that's a possibility. But I don't want to force myself to do spell work, you know? So if I don't know, I guess if the mood arises, but I would like to do more of that. And I, of course, have been getting new decks. I want to show that. Yeah, so let me pull this out. And so I have my wish list that I kind of add to as I remember it. So this isn't comprehensive. It's just like, oh, right, that deck, I want to put that on there. And some of these I've already gotten. But this page, I'm allowing myself to get up to 20 decks this year. I do not want to exceed that. And there's 20 spots here to fill out. I know that this says Mars Power Tarot. I haven't inked that in. And then, of course, I got the Kamito Yokai here. Sorry, I got a deck here. The Kamito Yokai. And then I also backed the Gourmet Tarot. And that's I think, going to be coming in June, I think. That's a Kickstarter. And I got the Yokai Tarot, the mass market version. So this page is almost complete. Which makes me nervous because I'm also counting any gifts I get. So if I get tarot or card decks as a gift, that's getting added to this page. So it's really keeping me accountable for how much I'm spending this year. So I'm not doing a no-buy. I'm just doing very specifically, I am only bringing in 20 decks. And there's so many more that I want to bring in too. So that's one thing I got to think about. And then, I'm doing my tarot tournament, which I talk about every month. My monthly wrap-up videos. I go through all the tarot readings that I did that month. And then picking my favorite tarot deck of that, not Oracle, very specifically tarot, picking my favorite tarot deck of that month and putting that in its monthly slot here. And then at the end of the year, so there's going to be a fun video for December because I'm going to go through and pick my favorite of those two. Actually, I'll do that in July. I'll pick my favorite of those two. And then in August, I'll pick my favorite of those. September, that. October here, November here, and December here. So yeah, and then December, well, yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, so this has been real fun, and I'm really excited to finish that. And I'll probably do this again for 2025. Then I'm listing on this page, it's decks I used for each month. I've got to print off another 4 months here. So here we go. Here's a trimester. The trimester here. Here's the first trimester of all the decks that I used. Yeah, so I got to print off another one for the next trimester and then another one for the final trimester there. And then I don't have anything on these last few pages. Yeah, but this definitely, I've loved everything that I've done for these. So, and I have been doing some pick a card readings. Mostly I do those for, if I don't, because I'm trying to do 2 videos a week. So if I don't have a video planned for a week, I'll I've been happy doing some of those pick-a-cards. And I just, excitingly, did a pick-a-card for my Instagram using the yokai tarot, or yokai, the Kamito Yokai Oracle here. I used this along with the Cosmovisions. Cosmovisions or Prismavisions, whichever one is the actual tarot. That's what I used for I pulled a card, pulled 3 of them, and then pulled two tarot cards, and did a pick-a-card on my Instagram. And I actually just posted that today, the 14th. This video is going up on Saturday, but yeah, and I actually really like that, and I think I might start doing that a little more often. So maybe for the next one I'll do my my Rujin Kado, because my Instagram is, a lot of it is like, I do Tarot Tuesdays, but the main focus of my Instagram has been Japanese. I also post, selfies, really kind of sexy selfies, on Sundays, but it's not always on a Sunday, but yeah, so yeah, that's my Instagram if you're interested. So yeah, so I've been doing the pick-a-cards, and I just started that, the Instagram one, but yeah. Anyway, so doing a quick run through of my notes here, and I think that was everything. Yeah, so like my spiritual focus, I do have a Hindu practice too. Maybe next year I can do some yoga, or maybe I might start that this year. I don't know. Yeah, and then with my Irish practice, it's kind of separated into my deities, Ogham, fairy, and I haven't quite said more on that, but it's more something I'm figuring out. So this was a long video. It's like over 41 minutes now. So I just want to thank everyone for sticking with me. And I know this video was probably a little bit boring. If you are interested in doing a tarot trimester, I would love to see your video. Please use the hashtag tarot trimester, or tag me or something. I really want to see everyone else's practices, whether it's spiritual or strictly psychological, because tarot for a lot of people is strictly psychological. And I'd love to see that too. Yeah, so hopefully this gains some traction, and if not, then okay, it's just for me anyway. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye!